So here they come, off the final turn. Morgato on the inside, Rojon on the outside, and he's controlling the pace very much indeed as they come down the main straight. Let's race! And it's a good start from Morgato. Good start too from Coluccio. A big slide, here we go. There's no grip at all for the drivers on the outside line. They've skated off, and that's a devastating end for Arthur Rojon. His chances have gone. Rasmus Simis has gone. So too have several others. There's just no grip. I did say if you go slicks on the first couple of laps, it's going to be a nightmare, and then the track will dry out. But for the first start, anybody on that outside line has just swept off the road. It's absolute disaster. So who else has gone? Sandro Holcim actually cut the course. We got a spin there. That's one of the DPKs. 2 karts going around. So that is the 168 going around.
And we had, it was Ivan Dominguez actually is in trouble over there. The 166 as well involved. Let's see who that is. This is Kobayashi at the back end of the grid. But in the meantime, look who's leading the way actually.
Is that... Well, who's that that's come through to the lead there? That looks like one of the Kart Republics. That's Nicolas Pertolatti. Pertolatti has charged his way forward, has he?
Yeah, indeed, a 120. And in the meantime...
Oh, look, Arthur Rojon trying to cut... No, that's not. That's the 185. My goodness, that's Marius Christensen. Marius Christensen is leading the race on wet tyres. He's just bolted through the whole field. So anybody on wet tyres has got bags of grip. Vincent Andronacco second. Gerard Shee is in third. And down the straight we got a problem. That's Sandro Holcim. He's having to slot back in because he missed half the circuit. That's why. So he's having to slot back in behind Bo Heijmans. Then it's Morgato. So there's only 4 or 5 drivers that went on wet tyres. Everyone else went on slicks. So there's no grip at the start of this race at all.
Yeah, and you can see the classification being put on its head. But once again, let's watch out. Let's watch out, of course, how the race is going to unfold. Because if there's no more rain coming up, indeed, the racing line is going to start drying up. Sorry.
Yeah, the tide's going to turn, isn't it?
The tyres will be killed. So we might see actually the classification to be reversed once again, but I'm sure that those drivers secretly might pray for another rain coming up throughout the course of this qualifying heat that will allow them, of course, to keep the advantage. But that's always easier said than done, and from theory to practice there's always a gap. But incredible start of this race actually for the OK class. Let's have a look at the 185.
There's 3 of them. That's Morgan Porter. Morgan Porter's gone in. So is Nathan Sharp. And I think that's the 123 in there as well. That's Rasmus Simis. 3 of them wiped out at turn 6. They can all just about get going again, I do believe. Morgan Porter, yes, look, he has got going again. Nathan Sharp is trying to do exactly the same thing. But this is crazy because the leaders have gone through. Only the top 3 karts have gone through. Nobody else has, because they're about half a minute behind already. This is absolutely astonishing. 4th position now is Bo Heijmans, and he's just done a 125 compared to the leaders who are doing 112s and 113s. But the leader is Marius Christensen. Take a bow. You were right. Wet tyres was the way to go.
There you go. And we have 3 wild cards in the top 4. So once again, they had nothing to lose, actually. Those drivers that we don't get to see competing in the entire season, they're here just to make an impression. They're here to have fun, or they're here to put up the effort and the work. That's exactly what they've been doing, and this was a gamble. They went for it, and for now, at least, it's been paying off. But Marius Christensen, indeed, 3.6 seconds, 4 seconds up in front of Vincent Andronacco. Then we have Gerard Shee in third, Bo Heijmans. Once again, a good performance by the PDB Racing team driver, who is, of course, a usual name in Netherlands and in Belgium as well in the national series. Not so much here at this level, but once again, he's being able to put out wet tires and really go for the show. But incredible start of the race. If you're joining us now, you might be wondering what's happening in the European Championship.
Your guess is as good as ours.
Yeah, these are names I've never seen before at this level, you know. So how come? But just to give you a clue, 17 places gained for Marius Christensen, 21 positions better.
Oh, that's another retirement. That is Sandro Holcim. Sandro Holcim, who was running 11th.
Unfortunately.
So he's pulled off almost in exactly the same place he pulled off 2 weeks ago.
So 21st position for Vincent Andronacco, and Gerard Shee made up 16th place. That's your top 3. And if things stay as they are with the gaps and beautifully made by the 123, this is further back. Let's see who that is.
That's Rasmus Simis making the move on Onur Shabdar, the Kazakhstani. So he gets through. Poor Sandro Holcim walking away.
Yeah.
Just look at the gaps. You've got the top three separated by 5 seconds, and then in fourth is Bo Heimans, 37 seconds behind the rest of the field after 3 laps. This is baffling.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't get to see that often every day in karting, but
it's 42 seconds now. They're just disappearing. The wet tyres were the way to go.
That's a golden chance for the 3 of them actually, and GRT as well involved with the wildcards in the middle. But the fastest on track, the Chinese driver GRT 143 up into third, but you can see actually the drivers struggling to find some more additional grip on the exit of turn number 9, the hairpin of the track. And actually, by the look of it, those drivers seems to be going so slowly outside of turn number 9 because they feel it's still so much slippery.
We need to pick up the leader here because Marius Christiansen is about to do the unthinkable. Look, he is lapping. He is lapping drivers. He is literally just storming past the likes of Morgan Porter and lapping Morgan Porter and Ivan Dominguez. Never would you have put money on this coming into this race. You would never have put money on Marius Christiansen is not only going to lead, but he's going to lap the guy who dominated the last heat. That is absolutely astonishing. I've never seen anything like this before in karting anywhere in my life, and I've been watching it since 1998. This is absolutely astonishing. Marius Christiansen, look, he's just dancing his way around the competition. Here he goes again, dives up the inside of the 191 of Androzani, who's got going again after all that, but he's lapping them.
You know what? I think the practical joker we were talking about is also a gambler. So he might have put some money on some of those drivers and made sure that they could do actually the performance.
Flies past you, Simis.
Incredible.
This is an amazing run for Marius Christensen. I want him to win this one. I know he should be biased, but wouldn't it be wonderful if a wild card, having made the gamble, do you know what? Wet tyres, let's see what happens. Because the rain stopped, but it is wet out there, so let's see if it's the right call. Only 4 drivers, well, only 3 drivers really, made the call for wet tyres. Marius Christiansen, Gerard G and Vincent Andronacco. And look, these are world-class drivers that Marius Christiansen is just darting his way past. Look, he's got absolutely no response, the guys that are being lapped by him.
Interestingly, actually, when you can actually observe the driving, the way he's driving, actually, Marius Christiansen is not really going for, grip on outside of the racing line because of his wet tires. He might actually be tempted to go for wet patches around the track, but he stays on the racing line, which means that it's still very much slippery on the racing line that everybody actually takes. So that means that the track, the conditions are not evolving as fast as possible.
Now, let's not get... Well, he's just gone past one of the DPK karts going through now. So he's just lapped. That is... I think that's Martinius Stenchon and Lars van Vark he's now just got past. So yes, indeed. Now going down the back straight. So he's lapped everybody up to 12th position. We've just had an off at the final corner. That looks to me like... Arno Shabdor. There is Arno Shabdor, the Kazakhstani driver. He's walking away from his kart as Marius Christiansen continues to dart his way through. Now he's lapping Heralin Neradini. Neradini's in 10th position. He could lap the entire field up to the top 3, but Gerard G is not far away from him now. Gerard G has just set the fastest lap, a 109.6. So Gerard G could be stealing the victory instead. Vincent Andronacco's not far away either.
Yeah, and these are the drivers that will keep a good close on, a good watch on, because otherwise the rest of the field is just too far ahead, too far back. Sorry.
Here's an interesting factor, because now obviously the first few laps of the race, it's been wet but not raining. Now we're starting to get a little bit of impetus now. The slick shot runners are now starting to set personal bests. So the pendulum's going to swing back. The question is, can they make up a minute in 4.5 laps? That is a very tough ask for anybody, because the pendulum is starting to swing, and Gerard G is actually catching. Look, he's coming offline, he's having to get the wet patches. There is Gerard G right behind him. So these two are going to fight for the victory, with Vincent Andronacco 2.5 seconds further back. A minute ahead of the rest of the field, with Matthias Morgato in 4th. No, that's Turney. That's Joe Turney. He's gone clean off of turn 6. Joe Turney, the kart buried in the barrier. He drags it out, and look, this is Marius Christiansen now going past Bo Heimans. Heimans is in 5th. He's absolutely stormed past the field. The only person he hasn't lapped now on wet tyres, on slick tyres, sorry, is Matthias Morgato. Joe Turney gets going again. Well done, buddy.
Yes, indeed, but quite unfortunate turn of events for Joe Turney, who hasn't been lucky since the start of this weekend. But look at the way he's going.
Bo Hjemans can't figure out who's lapping him and who's overtaking him. He tried to get out of the way, lets Gerard G through, and then manages to repass Timur Kacarchik on the exit.
And that traffic.
The leader's crashed! The leader's crashed into the back of Morgato! Marius Christiansen mistimes the move! I don't believe it! Marius Christiansen hits Matthias Morgato trying to lap him and has crashed! I don't believe it! The chance to win in the most unbelievable circumstances possible has gone from Marius Christiansen. He should be able to get going again and retain the podium, but the chance for victory is gone.
Can you believe it?
Oh,
Can you actually
Marius.
believe this?
He just needed to time it a little bit more patiently, and now his car is stranded on the road. He can't get going. Marius Christiansen, the victory was his. He had it, and now it's for Gerard G to claim in front of Vincent Andronaco, and a minute and 12 seconds back and lapped Matthias Morgato.
That's a scenario no one could have predicted or written before the start of this race. But what a ton of events. Incredible. Gerard G on his way to potential victory with 2.9 seconds advantage on Vincent Andronaco. Marius Christensen down in third, but for no more, as he's going to be lapped and overtaken by Matthias Morgato at some point. But Gerard G is saying victory. He's the fastest on track in 67.4. He has no threat at all with almost 3 seconds advantage on Vincent Andronaco. So that's really victory given on the plate for Gerard G. Actually, who could have seen that coming? Unfortunately for Marius Christiansen, he had done the most of the work. He had done the hardest part of the race. All he had to do was just cruising along until a checkered flag and avoid, of course, any risk in the overtaking maneuvers. But it didn't go his way, and as a result, retirement for him.
You have to feel for Marius Christiansen. He had done so much hard work in this race. The wild card had been so strong, but it's going to be Gerard G that takes the victory in front of Vincent Andronaco if he can hold on for these last 2 laps by over a lap to Matthias Morgato in third. I cannot believe what I am witnessing here at Karting Genk. That is an absolutely astonishing... Oh, well, Vincent Andronaco, look, it looks like he's got a loose front fairing. Does he care? Does he care squat? Because he's a lap ahead of the guy behind him. So what does 5 seconds difference make?
Yes, indeed, you can see the front fairing bended, actually.
Yeah, there's no way that's not a front fairing penalty, but you know what? He's a lap ahead of the guy behind him, so what does it matter?
Yeah, absolutely. Such an incredible and unpredictable race, but it's all down to the condition at some point, and it was a gamble. They went for it, and it's about to be paying off for Gerard G as well as Vincent Andronaco.
That's Yusemis trying to get up the inside of the Expert. Oh, very good run there on the inside from Jutsemis as he gets the move there to move up another position.
8th place.
That's up past Villa, isn't it? Eduardo Villa, so he gets through. What a race. What a race. I've never seen anything like this before. Not at the FIA European. That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're getting here a checkered flag, and Gerard G, the man on your screen, with the Forza Racing colours on his chassis, on his way to what will be one of the most fantastic and unpredictable victories in the qualifying heat that we have ever seen, that's for sure. And he must be delighted, or maybe he's not realizing what's happening, actually. He's just trying to keep the focus on until the checkered flag. He's not about to make any mistake.
Well, this is, without a shadow of a doubt, the most bizarre, the most unpredictable, the most baffling race I have ever seen in the FIA Karting European Championships. Genk throws up an absolute sizzler. Nobody would have predicted that Gerard G from Hong Kong would come through from 19th on the grid to not only lead the race, but be a lap ahead of the guys in third position downwards as Bo Hjemans has moved into third past Matthias Morgato in the closing stages. This is absolutely astonishing. Gerard G is going to come through a couple of seconds ahead of Vincent Andronaco to win his first FIA karting qualifying heat in the most amazing circumstances. Gerard G takes the victory for Forza Racing after 12 of the most bizarre and bonkers laps of racing you will ever see in the FIA Karting European Championship. What a hero. Gamble, why not? Go for wet tyres, see what happens. And that's what happens. Gerard G has claimed a very popular, very exciting, just unbelievable of victories in front of Vincent Andronaco, and a lap down in third position is Bo Heijmans. You've got to feel for Marius Christiansen. He had done so much hard work to lead the race there early on, but he just mistimed lapping a back marker. You don't get to do it much, but Gerard G wins from Vincent Andronaco and Bo Heijmans. Matthias Mogato and Timo Kucharczyk, Luigi Coluccio and Herolin Neradini from Rasmus Jutzimis and Lars van Vaak, Eduardo Villa, Martini Estenchon, Emili Koivisto and Morgan Porter, Caspian Hagman, Karol Pazovic, Gianni Andrezzani, Frederick Listrup, and Joe Turney, who fights back to 18th, I should say. Then Warren Kim and Ivan Dominguez. And then the drivers that dropped out, Marius Christensen, who led most of the way and looked so good for it. Arno Schabder, Sandro Holzem, Christian Löwen, and Nathan Sharp.